Even as we talk here today, we've got ever-changing technologies, higher customer expectations, increasingly disruptive innovations that someone with the right idea in front of the right people and communicate that idea can knock it out of the park. Looking at the horizon for you guys, it's mind-boggling, the possibilities that you guys can have. So how do you take advantage of that myriad of possibilities? You got to figure out what you got. You should think carefully about your situation, think about who you are and what makes you tick, and the types of people you want to be around, because you can't do it alone. You've got to be around people with like minds and like spirits, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur and get a chance at changing the world, because that shit's fun, okay? College has taught a lot of you disciplines, some of you more than others, of course, but what it's done is taught you that you can complete projects and you can complete complex problems. And no doubt, some of the things that you learned in college was crap, and you could throw it out the window. Some of you all experienced those classes, but that's okay. But that's not the point. You need to know what your talents are, what your strengths are, what you may stink at, and what's your style. And be confident in your abilities and what you have learned, no matter where you come from. I can tell you a quick story. About 6 months ago, I was interviewing an intern, and she kept almost apologizing to me because she came from a small Midwestern college. Well, I got to tell you, do you think they price a bond any differently at her school than they do at Michigan? Do you think that the options formula for puts and calls is anything different at her school than we're at Notre Dame? Do you think they teach you how to read a balance sheet any differently at your school than they do at Harvard? She looked at me and she had this long gape on her face. And I looked at her and I said, absolutely not. They do not. These are the basics. What you learn in college teaches you the basics of how you succeed. Your success in life and your measure of life is what's inside of you. How you want to move forward in your life, how you want to succeed is all inside of you. So all of you have already taken the first step. You have learned or are learning the skills you need to succeed. You are seeking higher education. You're learning how to do research. You're learning to write, present, code, evaluate, analyze, and assess situations. And most importantly, as pointed out, the soft skills. You've got to learn how to communicate those, or nobody's going to listen to you. The bottom line is be confident in who you are, what you have learned, and where you want to go. College has taught you a lot. Please take advantage of it. Don't waste your parents' money, okay? So be confident and don't ever sell yourself or your abilities short. Very important. And if I could use my fingers, we'd be doing great. The next piece here is throw spaghetti against the wall. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the saying, but essentially, it's a common way to describe the process of figuring out what works. One of my biggest pet peeves in this world is that colleges ask an 18-year-old to declare a major. Who in the world at 18 years old actually knows what they want to do? And you can't shift gears or you got to start all over again. To me, that's a bunch of crap. Not fair to anybody. But one of my other things that I want people to do is take chances, try different things, find out what your passions are. That takes time. And it takes a long process because, look, odds are that 70% of you will not go on to careers in what you majored in college. I think that a lot of the older people in this room can attest to that. Reason being, things don't always work out. If you fail or you find you don't like the job path that you took, leave it. I mean, why would you want to stay in something and be miserable and be mediocre? It's not fun. So don't be afraid of failure. It's part of the road to success. Now is the time for you to explore your passions and creativity. Make some mistakes. Hell, we all did. But it's the true measure of a person. You get knocked down 7 times, get back up 8. Get back up with attitude. Come back stronger. Because life is a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. I'll tell you that much. And then, last but not least, if this was easy, everyone would do it. Anybody who's ever worked with me or for me realizes that I wear that statement out like crazy. But anything worth doing is difficult. Or all of you guys would be doing the same thing that we're all doing. Okay? It's not easy. So, some of you are going to come up with some ass-kicking idea that is going to truly separate you from everybody else. Sort of that golden child complex. But that golden child complex doesn't last long. You're only as good as your last greatest idea. There's much more work that goes into executing on that golden idea than you care to realize. You have to make a plan and make a really good plan. You have to do the research, the analysis, the programming, and communicating these great ideas. Because remember, only cooked spaghetti sticks. Okay? So, most importantly, you got to act on those ideas. If you don't act on those ideas, you're going to be one of the 2 guys sitting at the end of the bar drinking draft beer and shots of whiskey complaining about the way the world should have been. And that's no way to go through life. So, but again, you can't do this by yourself. You have to meet people to teach you the ropes. You have to meet people that aspire to the same things you do. Teach you how the game is played, what the playing field looks like. You need people with the same passion, drives, and goals. So you don't be them 2 old drunk guys sitting at the end of the bar. You don't want to be that person. Finally, how do I know this gibberish I'm spewing to you guys is true? It comes from life experience. First off, I was a student just like you. I was a U.S. Marine. I sold electronic trading platforms. I was a trade checker, a market maker. I was a compliance person and an operations professional. And then I had the privilege of working at some pretty good firms and running some pretty good firms, but I didn't do it by myself. I met those same people that had those great ideas and that passion, the same thing that I had, the passion to succeed. Essentially, those people that weren't afraid to throw spaghetti against the wall. Try and put that effort in. So important. The latest big idea that I'm trying to execute on is we started our own futures and options on futures exchange with the credo of small, standard, and simple. We built our own trading system, our own risk monitoring system. We're very excited about this because we feel our product and all what comes along with it will allow us to become the largest customer-centric exchange in the world. Pretty ambitious stuff, but who cares? We threw spaghetti against the wall, and here I am. And I'm very excited to be here and to talk to you guys. So finally, I encourage you to make no small plans. Listen to that lion in your heart and that desire to succeed. And don't sell yourself short, because that's a waste of time. Thank you very much.
We read dozens of news sources, so you only have to read one. John Lothian News.